Welcome to the deep dive. Today, well, we're tackling something that can be a real mix of emotions. Inheriting land. It's often this incredibly generous gift, maybe a family legacy, right?
Absolutely.
But for a lot of people, it lands with this heap of questions. Responsibilities, too. Sometimes it just feels overwhelming.
Mm.
Is this amazing opportunity or, kind of new burden? Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Our mission today is really to explore the options you have if you inherit tillable land or maybe recreational land. We want to dig into those often hidden costs that just pop up
They certainly do.
and also uncover the potential benefits, the things that could actually turn this inheritance into a real advantage. We've got some great sources here to give you some clear, actionable insights.
Right, and I think it's crucial to frame this right at the start. There isn't one single best option here.
No magic bullet.
Exactly. The right choice is, well, it's deeply personal. It's got to fit your situation. Especially, if you're sharing this inheritance.
I have multiple inheritors.
Yeah, people might have totally different goals. So the aim isn't just making a decision, it's making an informed one. That's really how you transform this from maybe a burden into a genuine opportunity.
That clarity is so key. Individual circumstances matter hugely, but let's be honest, the nitty-gritty stuff, the costs, they often hit you right away, don't they? Before you've even had a chance to really decide
I've
anything.
hit the nail on the head there.
So what are those financial things people run into first? The surprises. Because, before we dream about making money from the land.
You need to know what it's costing you.
Exactly.
And these immediate costs, they can really shape your next moves fast. A lot of inheritors get blindsided by taxes, not just the idea of them, but how past due taxes
All right.
or a reassessment after the transfer, how that can suddenly make this gift feel like a cash drain.
So you inherit the back taxes too.
Potentially, yes. You become responsible for property taxes, current and any past due amounts. And, yeah, transfer of property. That usually triggers a reassessment.
Which means higher taxes.
Almost always means higher taxes for the new owner. So don't just budget for what you think the taxes are. You really need to check the history. And then there are estate and inheritance taxes, sometimes called death taxes.
Yeah, heard that term.
If there are any unpaid estate taxes linked to that property, you absolutely need to talk to an attorney. That's not something to tackle yourself.
Definitely not.
And here's another kicker. If you decide later, maybe down the road, to sell the land and you make a profit,
Mm-hmm.
you're likely on the hook for capital gains taxes. It's
Yeah.
like this second tax bite that catches people by surprise.
Wow. So it's not just the new taxes, it's potentially old ones, future ones. That's quite a welcome package.
It can be.
What else should you be bracing for?
Well, beyond taxes, think about mortgages. Any existing liabilities or liens on that property, they automatically become yours.
So you inherit the debt too.
You can, yes. Imagine getting this beautiful land, but finding out there's a significant mortgage attached you now have to pay.
Well,
And if the property happens to be in a planned community.
like with an HOA.
Exactly. Homeowners association fees. You inherit those responsibilities too. And just like the taxes, any past unpaid HOA fees, they become your problem as well. You're basically stepping right into the previous owner's financial shoes, debts and all.
Okay, taxes, mortgages, HOA fees.
Right.
What else?
Insurance. Critical. As the landowner, you absolutely need liability protection.
Hey, if someone gets hurt.
Exactly. Or if a storm damages a barn or any structure on the property, that falls on you.
Makes sense.
And finally, there's just the ongoing maintenance. Even if you live miles away, hundreds of miles away.
You still have to maintain it.
Yep. The responsibility for upkeep, clearing fallen trees, managing brush, just basic safety stuff to prevent accidents, that's yours. It's a constant commitment, both time and money.
Huh. So I could inherit this, beautiful piece of forest, and suddenly I'm managing taxes, insurance, maybe debt, and clearing trees.
Pretty much, yeah, it can feel like that.
Doesn't sound like my idea of weekend fun, gotta say. But, okay, that really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From what do I owe now to, okay, how can this land actually start paying me back?
That's the pivot point. That's the urgent question.
So where do we start? Are there, low-hanging fruit ways to generate income? Especially if you're totally new to this.
Definitely. And one of the most versatile, most accessible options, especially if you've got tillable land, is leasing it out, generating passive income that way.
Leasing to farmers.
Exactly. If you inherit farmland but you're not a farmer, lease it to someone who is. There's almost always demand for good tillable acres for cash crops. And the benefits here are, well, they're twofold, really.
Okay.
One, you create that passive income stream. 2, you have someone else actively maintaining your property.
Ah, that's a big one.
Huge. It helps keep pastures from getting overgrown with weeds or brush. And if you're an absentee owner living far away,
Yeah.
you get some peace of mind knowing someone's there, invested in the land's well-being, keeping an eye on things.
That sounds like a definite win-win.
Mm.
But are all farm leases the same? Or are there different ways they work?
Oh, not at all. Good question. There are generally 2 main types you'll run into.
Okay.
First is what's called a crop share lease. Now, this one can be a bit more complex to manage if you, the landowner, don't have farming experience.
What's that?
Because you and the tenant farmer actually split both the production costs and the profits.
Ah, so you share the risk and reward.
Exactly. The percentages vary, but maybe like a 30-70 split. You cover 30% of the expenses, you get 30% of the crop value. The farmer handles the rest. So connecting this to the bigger picture, you're more involved in the actual farming cycle, which can be rewarding, but it does demand more from you understanding costs, markets.
Right, more hands-on.
Definitely. The second type, which is much more common, is cash rent leasing.
Okay, cash rent. That sounds simpler.
It generally is. It's probably what most people picture. You agree on a cash amount, the farmer pays you up front, usually per acre.
And then they handle everything.
Yep. The farmer assumes all the risks, weather, crop prices, yield, but also gets all the rewards. For you, the landowner, it means predictable income.
Ah, predictable is good.
Very good for budgeting. You don't worry about how the crops did or if commodity prices tanked. It's the easiest lease to manage, usually. Just a steady, reliable income.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense for tillable land. Either get involved with the crop share or go for the predictable cash rent. But land isn't always just fields, right? What about woods, recreational land? You mentioned another group earlier.
Absolutely. It's not just about growing crops. Another really excellent group to think about leasing to is hunters.
Leasing for hunting rights.
Exactly. It's a fantastic way to generate passive income, often from land that isn't farmable. And crucially, it provides an active presence on your land.
How so?
Well, think about it. An active hunting lease means people are legitimately visiting the property. This drastically reduces the chance of trespassing or vandalism.
Ah, because there are people around.
Right. Especially vital if you're an absentee owner. Just seeing a truck parked by the gate sometimes is the best deterrent there is against someone sneaking on. And there's another unique value here people don't always consider.
What's that?
Leasing to hunters can actually help keep game populations, like deer, in check,
Okay.
which can be really important if you also have farming nearby, either on your property or adjacent. Balanced game populations help protect crops from damage.
Interesting point.
What's more, a lot of hunting groups are really keen on improving wildlife habitat. They want the land to be healthy.
So they might actually help maintain it.
They often do. Your lease agreement can even include provisions for them to do habitat projects. Things like controlled burns, improving timber stands, planting food plots for wildlife. It can become a real partnership for taking care of the land.
So we've got leasing for farming, leasing for hunting, generating income, keeping an eye on things, maybe even improving the habitat. But what if, okay, here's where it could get really interesting. Can you do both? Layer them somehow?
Now you're thinking. That's often the real sweet spot for maximizing the land's potential.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Our sources definitely point to the possibility of combining leases. Imagine this. You lease the tillable acres to a farmer for cash rent.
Okay, predictable income there.
And simultaneously, you lease the woods, the recreational parts, to a hunting group.
Uh-huh.
It's a layered strategy. You maximize income from different parts of the property, and you maximize that active management, the eyes on the land. Best of both worlds, really. Diversified income, better oversight.
That's a fantastic strategy, making the land truly work for you. But let's shift gears. What if keeping it, even with leases, just isn't the right move? Maybe it doesn't fit your life, your goals. You just need a simpler path. That brings us to another major option, just selling the inherited land.
Selling is absolutely a viable path, and for many people, it's the most practical, most straightforward option.
Okay.
But, and this is critical, the very first step you should take honestly, whether you plan to sell or not, is get a professional appraisal.
Know what it's worth.
Exactly. From a knowledgeable realtor who understands land values in that specific area, knowing the property's true current value is fundamental. You can't make any informed decision without that baseline. It's not just about setting a sale price. It's about understanding the actual asset you're dealing with.
Right, get the facts first.
Get the facts, and then if you do decide to sell, working with state-specific agents, usually your best bet.
Local experts?
Yeah. They know the local market trends, they understand the communities, the zoning, all the specific legal bits in your region. They can navigate that for a smooth transaction and help you get the best possible outcome as a seller.
Okay, so appraisal first, then find a local expert if selling.
Got it.
Now, what about land that has a lot of freeze? Significant timber. That seems like a whole other kind of asset, maybe overlooked.
It definitely can be overlooked, and it can be a substantial asset, absolutely.
So how does that work?
Well, if your inherited land has timber, you can get foresters, either private consultants or sometimes state agency foresters, to come appraise its value.
They walk the property.
They'll walk the property, yeah. They identify the different tree species, oak, pine, maple, whatever's there, and estimate the volume and its current market value for logging or timber products.
Okay.
This timber value, if it's significant, can then be leveraged in a couple of key ways.
No, so.
First, pretty obviously, you can harvest the timber for cash. A timber sale can provide a direct, sometimes quite large, income stream.
Right. Sell the trees.
Sell the trees. Second, if you decide not to harvest but instead sell the land itself,
Uh-huh.
including a recent professional timber appraisal in your sales listing can be a huge selling point. It shows potential buyers there's additional value there beyond just the acreage.
So it makes the land more attractive to buyers.
Exactly. It quantifies an extra asset they might be getting.
So it's not just a pretty forest. It could be like a timber bank account.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
And is managing a timber harvest something a new landowner has to figure out all on their own?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds complicated.
It can seem daunting, but no, not usually. There are specialized groups, forestry consultants, logging companies. You can hire them to manage the whole thing, from identifying and marking the trees ready for harvest, doing it sustainably, to the actual cutting, removal, and transport.
Takes the heavy lifting off your shoulders.
Literally, yes. They handle the entire operation.
Okay, that's good to know. So we've covered costs, leasing to farmers, leasing to hunters, selling, leveraging timber. What's left? Is there just a simple option?
There is, and it's one that shouldn't be dismissed just because it seems simple amidst all these financial strategies.
Which is?
Just enjoying the land yourself, keeping it for personal use, or maybe just holding on to it as a long-term asset.
The do-nothing option,
Oh,
but in a good way.
exactly. It's a perfectly valid choice. Maybe the other options don't appeal or they don't fit your life right now. And remember, land, especially rural property, it typically appreciates over time. It can be a really sound long-term investment.
True.
Plus, simply holding on to it gives you something really valuable, flexibility, time.
Time to decide later.
Precisely. It gives you breathing room to figure out your path without immediate pressure. And keep in mind, it's generally easier to be a seller than a buyer in the land market.
What do you mean?
Well, if you decide later you do want to sell or lease or harvest timber, those options are usually still there. But if you sell quickly and later regret it, buying land back, especially that piece of land, can be much harder or impossible.
Good point. So taking your time isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Not at all. There's no rule that says you have to make a huge decision tomorrow. Understanding the land, your options, that takes time.
Okay, so wow, we've really covered a lot of ground today. We started with understanding those immediate costs and responsibilities, taxes, insurance, upkeep.
The essential starting point.
Then we moved into making the land actually generate income, leasing to farmers, cash rent or crop share, leasing to hunters for income and oversight.
Active strategies.
Then the option of selling it outright, remembering that crucial appraisal first.
Yes.
Leveraging timber resources, either for direct income or as a selling point.
Another value stream.
And finally, just holding on to it, enjoying it, letting it appreciate, keeping your options open.
It's a comprehensive set of possibilities, and that really brings us back to the core message, I think. Inheriting land, it's often a fantastic opportunity, no doubt, but it genuinely presents this wide array of choices that, yeah, can feel overwhelming.
For sure.
And this raises that important question again. How do you weigh these different paths? Because the best decision, it's so personal, it's heavily influenced by your goals, your financial picture, and definitely the family dynamics if you're sharing this inheritance.
Yeah, that adds another layer.
It really does. So the advice is usually don't rush, don't feel pressured into a quick decision. Talk to professionals. People who specialize in land management or farm leases or forestry or rural real estate, they have insights and, frankly, a vested interest in helping you succeed. They can offer guidance tailored just for you.
Absolutely solid advice. Get expert help. Take your time. So, as we wrap up, maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Considering all these avenues we've explored, what's maybe one single, possibly overlooked detail about your inherited land? Maybe it's hypothetical land you're thinking about,
Hmm.
or maybe it's real. What detail might actually hold the key to its greatest potential?
Interesting question.
Is it that unnoticed creek bed that could be perfect for a hunting lease? Is it a stand of timber nobody's ever formally appraised? Could there be I don't know, a historical tax issue you need to clarify?
Yeah.
And maybe more importantly, what's the very first small step you could take, maybe even today, just to start uncovering that potential?
Yeah, what's step one?
We really encourage you to see inherited land not just as, a plot on a map or even just property,
Hmm.
but as this whole spectrum of possibilities, possibilities waiting to be explored. We really hope this deep dive has helped you think about how to navigate those possibilities with a bit more confidence.